I'm John Moat. This is Dick Lane's GMC Under Glass. And it's a Bob Sorrell bodied Kurtis chassis with a 301 GMC 6-cylinder.
It's on a KK500 chassis by Kurtis?
Yeah, KK500. These were chassis you could buy for about $1,275 in the early 50s. And you got to think of a brand new car in the early 50s, about $1,600. So it's a pretty expensive piece of technology, right? Just for some metal tubes. But full torsion bar suspension, see here. And Kurtis had won Indy, I think a few times by the time that chassis came out. They ended up winning Indy 5 times with a chassis very similar to this. So I think the GMC Straight 6 was the popular hot rod motor before the V8s became prominent. And so this one has a Wayne Fisher crossflow head. They made a total of 24. And the head actually has manufactured for R. Richard Lane 554 stamped on it. So that's kind of cool.
Very
you know?
cool, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you were saying this hasn't been in the public eye in quite some time, right?
Right. The car was in storage for about 65 years. And we found it out in the desert, pretty much 98% complete, and went about restoring it for racing, and this is what you got.
So what kind of, well, it was complete, but what kind of condition was it? I mean, where did you find it?
Well, it was out under a shed in the desert, and this fiberglass looked like kind of like a soggy potato chip. You could see the sun through it, and had a vinyl interior, this color, this white vinyl, and then it was a dark blue, but it had all been faded and such. And no roll cage, obviously. The headers were there. It had side draft Webers instead of this log manifold here that we had built for it with the Strombergs. And when we took the motor apart, it had still had assembly grease on some of the bearings, so it really hadn't run much.
Wow. You were saying something interesting about the taillights back here I caught earlier. Can you go through that again?
Yeah, so we've taken the car apart to restore it, and these are actually tomato juice cans cut at an angle. And these are a bigger reflector off a truck or a trailer that's been ground down to fit here. The original bumper we have, but it's really beautiful and delicate and intricate, so we don't put it on the car for racing, but it's a beautiful thing.
So while we're back here, can we get some technical specs about the rear end here, some of the suspension components?
Yeah, this is a quick change Hallebrand rear diff. That's what was in the car originally. This is a copy. The original car came with a box of gears, quick change gears, which actually fit into this new, and this is much safer for racing.
Did it still have the original rear end, or was that?
Yeah, that's okay. At the shop.
That's up on the shelf.
But the way the wheels attach and the axles attach, it's not safe for racing. It has like a keyway system.
Oh, I see.
And it's very weak, and the wheel could fall off.
Right, so kind of the difference between why you'd rather have the wide 5s on a Ford than the keyway wheel.
Exactly, yeah.
Stronger bike.
The original Hallebrand wheels were magnesium. These are copies, so they're safer. But we have the original magnesium wheels.
Wow.
This is the original dash. The only thing that's not original is the switch and the light, but other than that, that's the original tack.
All the cloth wire and fuses in there, that looks great.
Yeah, that's obviously newer cloth wire to look older.
Look, cross over to the other side. Yeah, there you go. That's what first clued me in. I mean, I looked at the color and saw that and was like, oh, wait a second. That looks really familiar.
Yeah, the car is really well documented, the construction of the car in Carcraft magazine. I think it was in six different magazines there with a story on how to build a fiberglass car. And it looks really like a miserable thing you'd want to do to build a fiberglass car.
Very itchy process.
Yeah,
what are you making for power?
This motor dynoed just under 400 horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah, so the builder is Don Ferguson. He has a Bonneville speed record with this motor at 310 miles an hour with a GMC.
You familiar with the movie? Familiar with the movie Johnny Dark from '54 with Tony Curtis?
Vaguely.
Yeah. The one of the things I found out recently was that I think it was I don't know if it was the Tatum special or the Channing special, but one of them were set up with the straight six.
That's the Tatum special.
That's the Tatum special, yeah. So all of the motor noises in that movie actually are sound clips from his
Oh, no
straight
kidding.
six GMC, yeah.
I think it's a gorgeous car, and the design, you know, think about what looked like this in 1952 when Bob Sorrell penned it. I'm trying to think of other European sports cars. Was there anything like it? You know, we can put the hood down if you want.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, is it a two-person job?
Yeah, let's see here. Hey, Mikey, I'm gonna put this hood down.
I always forget how long the hood section of these are. There you go, now you can get a sense of it.
How to build a fiberglass car? Well,
Yeah. Fit and finish is a bit of a challenge sometimes.
all right,
Yeah,
there it is.
that is
A
fantastic.
little bit of oil on it from the track.
Sure, how did it do when you had it out there?
but It's fast.
Yeah, how many times have you actually run it since you've gotten it redone?
3.
Okay.
And we had, you know, each time you go out when you've got a brand new car you're restoring, there's always something that's you discover that needs to be upgraded or reworked.
Are you based out here in California?
Yeah, Sun Valley, near Burbank. We barely got this thing finished to load on the trailer. I think I drove it around the block the day before we loaded it on the trailer to get it up here, which is kind of typical for this vintage racing thing.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. It's all down to the wire, I'd
Right,
imagine.
there's 2 little chrome strakes that go across here that we ran out of time to put on. They bolt there. Kind of a nice little touch there. It goes with the chrome bumper. But other than that, I mean, this is the whole car. And this grill, again, there's got to be 100. This is handmade.
Yeah.
There's got to be hundreds of man hours in that grill.
You were lucky enough that it still had it. It sounds like you really, I mean, whoever put it away or at least kept it put away certainly didn't pilfer things from it, which is super helpful.
Yeah, it's amazing. It had a completely enclosed bottom. You know, there was aluminum bottom for aerodynamics that they did in 1950.
Like an aluminum belly pan?
Yeah, the whole way. And we're missing 3 pieces of that, but the first piece is there. We're going to recreate that.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so aerodynamically, that should have some benefit, I think.
Oh, I would think so, yeah.
Yeah.
And these are you said these are replica of the Halibran kidney bean wheels?
Yeah. Yeah, we've got the original magnesium.
They were still on the car?
Yeah. Just not safe to run.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
So yeah, you don't want to break down and wreck something beautiful like this. So
No.
you've got to upgrade some things.
Did you happen to see the one that was on the lawn at Pebble last year, the aluminum
Yeah,
one?
Dr. Brinker's. Yeah. We helped each other on the restoration on both cars. Was happening at the same time, and so we kind of corresponded. And it's a whole different car. You know, that's more of a show car.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is for racing.
The
It's a
color
gorgeous
on it is
car.
great.
I mean, the job they did is
Yeah, it was
over
like
the top.
like a burgundy with like almost an oxblood red interior.
Yeah, it's
Similar
this-
setup. I think his was the same straight six GMC, right?
But his is the original aluminum show car body from the Autorama show.
Right, yeah, and if I
Yeah.
recall correctly, I don't think that ever was like a fully done car, right? So he had a fair
I-
amount of work ahead of him.
Yeah, yeah. I think he had to make a car out of what was kind of a show car.
Right. And what material is the windscreen here?
That's a aircraft, windshield. I forget that. I think it's called Aircraft Windshields. It's a
Okay.
company that builds it.
So it's like a
And-
Lexan?
Yeah, and we have to build like a template, and then they put it together. And then we had somebody fabricate this, a real talented guy, Stephen Parks. He's in Sun Valley, and he's an incredibly talented young guy, about your age. And he built this. He did the roll cage. His roll cage comes off. I mean, the guy's workmanship is just incredible.
Yeah, I can't even imagine trying to figure out the geometry of this.
Yeah, it's interesting. It was basically you take a piece of cardboard and you form it.
Sure.
Which is what I did, and then I give that to these guys, and they make something out of it.